What's up, guys? Bravo Baji out here coming at you with another video. Today I'm going to be bringing you my first place Swartso deck profile. Wasn't a huge tournament. It was my locals, around like 20 people. But we did go undefeated in a tournament, and this is I'm going to give you guys a list. So let's get into it. Starting off, we have 3 Moyi, 3 Long Young, and 2 Taye, and 2 Ecclesia. This is the Swartso part of the deck. Pretty self-explanatory if you ask me. Moyi, when you use the synchro material, lets you draw a card. This is your extender. You discard a worm or a Swartso card to special summon this guy in the token. Taye is really the only one you don't want to see in your opening hand because he needs a card. He needs a card in graveyard to banish in order to get his effect off. But after turn 1, Taye is really good, and Taye works really well with Baxia because the token that they produce is a water token, and Baxia shuffles cards your opponent controls equal to the different attribute of worms used to create it. So if you make Baxia off of Moyi, you only get to bounce 1 due to Moyi and the token being water, but Taye allows you to bounce 2. And Ecclesia is, after going second, really good. Going first, it isn't horrible. If she's your only play, you kind of normal summon her, activate her effect, and hope they don't have an Ash. But if they don't have an Ash, then you get to go off and things like that. So that is it for the Swartso portion of the deck. Moving on to the Tennies, we run 3 Ashuna, 2 Vishuda, and 2 Adhara. Vishuda is a godsend in your hand going second. It helps push through so many boards. You special summon it, you make a monk, and then in graveyard, since you have a controlling non-effect monster, you can banish your target card on the field and bounce it. So if it forces out an interaction from your opponent, depending on what you target, but it 100% forces it out. Really good. Ashuna allows you to special summon. You banish while you control a non-effect monster. You banish it from your hand or graveyard, and you special summon a Tenny from your deck. And this locks you into Tenny monsters for the rest of the turn. It's special summon the Tenny monsters for the rest of the turn. Not Tenny, I'm sorry, worm monsters for the rest of the turn. Which really isn't a problem since a good 90% of what we play are worm monsters. And at Hara, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish it from your hand or your graveyard and add back a banished worm. So you can use this to add back either one of these, or if you banish a worm monster, if you banish a Swartso monster off Taye, you can use it Hara to add it back once the token's out on the field. So that is it for the Tennies. And the last worm monster that we play in the main deck is Protos, the boy. This card is extremely broken. The card is extremely broken. What it does, you special summon it by attributing or banishing 3 monsters from your field or graveyard with different attributes. And it can't be destroyed by card effects. And what it does, you declare a monster attribute that's on the field. And neither player can special summon. You destroy every monster of the attribute on the field, and neither player can special summon monsters of that attribute until the end of your opponent's turn. So typically you just call Dark, since he is dark and he can't destroy himself since he can't be destroyed by card effects. And if you play like a Phantom Knights or like a Hero RP, someone did this to me the other day. Or any deck that's dark based, this card completely shuts them out going first. If they don't impermanent when you declare the effect or have some type of interaction for it when you declare the effect to negate it, it's gonna be tough for them to play if you call the attribute that's essential to your deck. Even in the Swartso mirror match, going first with Long Yon, if you know your opponent's on Swartso, instead of making Baron with your Long Yon, you can go into Chang'ing, the Swartso level 10, call Water, use Chang'ing to protect itself with his banish effect from grave, and it keeps your opponent from special summoning their tokens. Because, like I said, the tokens that the Swartso creates are level 4 water tuners. So if you call Water, if you call water with Protos, they can't. You force them to have Ecclesia or the TNEs in order to play, really, because they won't be able to get to their tokens. So that is it for the Warren monsters that we play. And the last 3 months that we play in the main deck are 3 Ash. No need to explain Ash there. You know what Ash does. Moving on to some of the spell cards. We have 3 emergents here. This is the rotor for the deck. Add 1 Sword Soul Mother from deck to your hand. But if you control the Synchro monster while you can play this card, you get to add any Worm monster, and that's how you search our Protos. Because She Shall Summon allows you to search for a Sword Soul card. She Shall just searches out emergence. You play emergence, and that searches out your Protos. So that's what makes Protos searchable. That's what makes it really, really good. 1 Sacred Summon, just a monster reborn. Just target a Sword Soul monster in your graveyard, special summon it. But if you control a Synchro, you can target any worm. But 9 times out of 10, we just get another Sword Soul monster. 2 Vessel. This tournament was played maybe like a week or 2 ago, and I have made changes to this list, and this is one of the changes that I have made. I have opted to go for Heavenly Circle instead of Vessel, but honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I played Vessel for this tournament. It was really good. It kind of fixes, I don't say it fixes your hand, but it's really situational. If you open up 1 10E, you can special summon it, play Vessel once you make it the 10 to a monk, and allows you to dump a worm and add a 10E. So it allows you to keep going and keep playing things of that nature. Really good card. 2 Desires. While I was building the deck, I got to 38 cards, and I cannot think of what to put in. So I threw in 2 Desires, and this card in this deck is really, really good. I was on Prosperity at first, but TEs really need, not TEs, Sword Sword really needs 2 cards to really play. And Prosperity, it allows you to dig and add what you want, but it doesn't give you that second card. Desires gives us the opportunity to draw 2 cards and really go off with our plays. So Desires over Prosperity in this deck 100%. And the last spell cards we're playing is 3 Dark Ruler and 2 Chalice. Dark Ruler is really good. It allows you to play honestly. With the type of boards that Lyrilless deck puts up, it's really difficult to play through. With the Ensemble Blue Robin bouncing everything, with the Apex Evian negate, with the Utopia monster being able to negate and steal, they put up a lot of disruptions. And sometimes some of them even still go for the barrier statue play. So, which is really tough for this deck to play through. So, Dark Ruler just turns all it off. And Chalice is really good. Game 1, it's a disruption. If you draw it, you can set it, use it as a trap card. But games 2 and 3, it really helps you deal with Token Collector. If your opponent is sizing the Token Collector. Because Token Collector hits the field. And this works better than Imperm, in my opinion, because you're gonna have a monster on board, so you won't be able to Imperm from your hand. So Chalice allows you to play through Token Collector, and so that this doesn't end your turn, honestly. And that is it for the spell cards. Not playing too many traps, just 6. Play Imperm again, another disruption. Good hand trap going second. You know what Imperm does. 2 Blackout. This is another change that I've made since this list has come. Since I played with this list, I replaced one of the Blackouts with the Water 10E in order to play better with Heavily Dragon Circle. But Blackout is just Icarus attack. You target one monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. And if this card gets banished, it special summons the level 4 Water token. It works really well with Taye, and it allows you to play around cards like Imperm or Fake Veiler. Because if you banish this off of Taye, if they Imperm it or a Fake Veiler or anything like that, you still get the token from this card's effect. And the last trap card we're playing is the most interactive card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? Imperial Order. This is another card that I feel like needs to be hit on the list. I don't think it's the fairest card, but hey, it's here. This deck doesn't get crippled by its once you set up your board and get your plays going. This deck doesn't get crippled by not being able to activate the spell cards. And so yeah, Imperial Order goes crazy. You kind of make your board, you flip it, and you just kind of win, honestly. But hey man, that's I don't think it's completely fair, but that's the game we're playing right now. Again, I will put out a video later on explaining how I feel about the format and things like that. That's just it for the main deck. It is at 40, right at 40. Getting into the extra deck. 2 monk. I think 2 monks correct. I rarely ever feel myself wanting a third. I don't think it comes up that much. I mean, there have been games where I was like, oh man, if I had a third monk, but I think 2 is correct. And we play the one shaman. Shaman comes up a lot more than I thought it was when I was initially building this deck. Shaman is really clutch. It allows you discard a card, and it allows you to spell some of a level 4 lower worm monster from your deck. I mean, from your graveyard. And the only restriction is you can only activate the effects of teeny monsters from the extra deck after you spell some of this card. So it doesn't lock you into teenies, but you can only activate those monsters' effects. So something to keep in mind. That's it for the links for the synchros. 2 Card's broken, honestly. Card's really good. On summon, it allows you to search for a Sword Soul card, or you can banish a Sword Soul card from your deck. Typically 9 times out of 10 you're searching, but for instance, let's say you normal summon Moyi or anything, Moyi or Taye, and you go to activate this effect and your opponent negates it with like an Imperm or a Veiler. And you have Long Yon in hand, you can special summon out the Long Yon to get its token. Use the token Long Yon created and your Moyi or your Taye to go into Shishao. And then on summon, Shishao effect can banish the trap and to get you the other token so you can continue synchroing off with your Long Yon. So Shishao is really good. And also it's a monster against the Imperm while it's on field. Then we have Changing. Changing is a bomb, honestly. Changing is really, really good. Gains 100 attack and defense for every banished card on the field, including your opponents. And your opponent's monsters also lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card. And when a card is banished, at the resolution, this card can banish a card non-targeting from your opponent's graveyard and from your opponent's field. So this card's really good. And if it would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish a card to protect it. And then that banish triggers its effect. The banish from field and graveyard is once per turn, but the protection effect is not. So if they keep trying to pop it through card effects, you can keep banishing to protect it. They essentially have to bounce it or destroy by battle. And with their monsters losing so much and this card gaining so much, it's going to be pretty difficult to do. Next we have the Yang Zing portion of the Synchro Monsters. Honestly, my favorite portion. I love Yang Zings. It's one of my favorite decks ever, and I'm really glad these cards are back relevant. At least these cards because of this deck. We have Yazi. We have 2 Baxia. We have 1 Chao Fang. Yazi does not come up a lot, but when it does come up, it puts in a lot of work. It can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. What it does, you can destroy 1 Yang Zing card monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls. So typically you're targeting the Yazi itself and 1 card your opponent controls. And when it's destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you special summon level 4 lower worm monster from your deck in defense. So after this effect, you can get a Moyi, you can get a Taye, and you can just continue your plays that way. Baxia is the Yang Zing card we go into the most. On summon, it bounces cards your opponent controls equal to the amount of different attributes used to make it. So if you make it, like I said earlier, if you make it with Moyi and a token, you only get to bounce 1 because Those are 2 water monsters. But if you make it with a Taille and a token, that's a wind and a water. So you get a target card from control and bounce those 2 cards. And then Chow Fang. Chow Fang is in here, one, because if you open up a Shuna and any other if you open up a Shuna and any other TNT monster, you can make you can go into Chow Fang first without committing your normal summon to protect yourself from Nib. And also if you make this against a deck like Drytron, they can't really play. What it says is this card, if you make this with with Baxia, it keeps your opponent from special summoning, from activating the effects of light monsters. So this card's really good against that matchup. And lastly, we have kind of the other guys that don't really come up a lot. One Dragite, one Draco Berserker, one Crimson Blader, one Ruddy Rose. I didn't go into these cards too much. Out of these 4 cards, the one I go into the most is Draco Berserker. Like I said, typically after I go into a Shaman, I go into a Draco Berserker, since so I can activate its effect of that turn if I need to. And Draco Berserker also helps push for game. I feel like a lot of people don't know this effect, but when this card attacks an effect monster, it destroys it by battle. It gains that effect monster's attack, and it can make a second attack. And that attack gain is permanent, so that's something to keep in mind. So puts a lot of damage on board, does a lot. Very seldom do I use these cards. This is another card really good against strategies like Drytron or like Eldritch. Once they have like in the late game once they have everything like set up in the graveyard, especially Drytron, you can make this and it banishes every card from graveyard. It does hurt you a bit, but I feel like this is something you can 100% play through. It doesn't cripple you like it will, like the Drytron or the Eldritch strategy. Crimson Blade is really good in the mirror. If this card destroys a card by battle, level 5 or higher monsters, your opponent cannot level special summon or normal summon level 5 or higher monsters. So it really cuts off this synchro summon mechanic. So that is really good. And last and 100% not least, we have Big Baron. Big Baron. This card is crazy. This card is extremely good. I don't know why they printed it. I don't think they should have printed it. But hey, it's here, and we're going to take advantage. Baron's level 10 synchro, so you make it with your Long Gun. It does a lot. So you can target a card on the field and destroy it. Once while face up on the field, this card is Omni Negate. And during the standby phase, you can bounce this card back to your, any standby phase by the way. You bounce this card back to your extra deck and special summon a level 9 or lower monster from your graveyard. So this card does everything you need to do. It's a negate, it's a pop, and then you bounce yourself back so you can really which provides follow up and gives you the opportunity to go into this guy again to get that negate back. So yes, that is the deck, guys. I hope you guys appreciated and enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.